TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. My name is Todd David Goldfinger, and here's today's top stories. As Benito Luna Herrera teaches his 7th grade social studies classes, he is on alert for signs of inner turmoil. And there is so much of it these days. One of his 12-year-old students felt her world was falling apart. Distance learning had upended her friendships. Things with her boyfriend were verging on violence. Her home life was stressful. She said, "I'm just done with it," the girl told Luna Herrera during the pandemic and shared a detailed plan to kill herself. Another student was typically a big jokester and full of confidence. But one day she told him she didn't want to live anymore. She, too, had a plan in place to end her life. Luna Herrera is just one teacher in one Southern California middle school, but stories of students in distress are increasingly common around the country. The silver lining is that special training helped to know what to look for and how to respond when he saw the signs of a mental emergency. Since the pandemic started, experts have warned of a mental health crisis facing American children that is now playing out at schools in the form of increased childhood depression, anxiety, panic attacks, eating disorders, fights, and thoughts of suicide at alarming levels, according to interviews with teachers, administrators, education officials, and mental health experts. Next news. The usual crowds filled the streets as bars and nightclubs were closing in California's capital city of Sacramento, when the sound of rapid-fire gunshots sent people running in terror. In a matter of seconds, the latest U.S. mass shooting had left 6 people dead and 12 wounded. Sacramento police said they were searching for at least 2 people who opened fire around 2 a.m. Sunday on the outskirts of the city's downtown entertainment district, anchored by the Golden One Arena that hosts concerts and the NBA's Sacramento Kings. The team's home game against the Golden State Warriors went on as scheduled Sunday night and began with a moment of silence for the victims. Police Chief Kathy Lester revealed few details from the investigation and pleaded with the public to share videos and other evidence that could lead to the killers. In quotes. The scale of violence that just happened in our city is unprecedented during my 27 years here, end quotes. Lester told reporters during a news conference at police headquarters, in quotes. We are shocked and heartbroken by this tragedy, but we are also resolved as an agency to find those responsible and to secure justice for the victims and the families, end quotes. Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg and other city officials decried escalating violence in the city while also urging people to keep coming downtown for events like NBA games and performances of the Broadway musical Wicked. We can never accept it as normal, and we never will, Steinberg said of the shooting, in quotes. But we also have to live our lives, end quotes. Next news. Democrats are launching a whirlwind of votes and Senate floor action Monday with the goal of confirming Ketanji Brown Jackson as the first Black woman on the Supreme Court by the end of the week. The Senate Judiciary Committee kicks off Monday morning with a vote on whether to move Jackson's nomination to the Senate floor. Democrats will then wind the nomination through the 50-50 Senate with the final vote in sight for President Joe Biden's pick to replace retiring Justice Stephen Breyer. After more than 30 hours of hearings and interrogation from Republicans over her record, Jackson is on the brink of making history as the third Black justice and only the sixth woman in the court's more than 200-year history. Democrats, and at least one Republican, tout her deep experience in her 9 years on the federal bench and the chance for her to become the first former public defender on the court. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Dick Durbin said Thursday that the high regard for Jackson after a combative 4 days of hearings is in quotes. Evidence of the strength that she brings to this nomination and the value that she will bring to the Supreme Court, end quotes. The Judiciary panel could deadlock on Monday's vote 11-11, meaning Democrats will have to spend additional hours on the Senate floor to discharge her nomination from committee. While it won't delay the process for long, it's another blow for Democrats who had hoped to confirm Jackson with bipartisan support. Next news. A jury in Michigan will begin its deliberations Monday in the trial of 4 men accused of designing a plan to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The jury picked a leader late Friday afternoon following hours of closing arguments from lawyers. Then, it said it would start discussing the case after the weekend. Adam Fox, Barry Croft Jr., Daniel Harris, and Brandon Caserta can be found guilty of conspiracy. Even if it wasn't possible to pull off the kidnapping in fall 2020, U.S. District Judge Robert Jonker said during jury instructions, a key factor, if the jury finds it, would be a, in quotes, mutual understanding, either spoken or unspoken, end quotes, between two or more people in the group, the judge said. Fox, Croft, and Harris also face charges related to weapons, in quotes. Deciding what the facts are is your job, not mine, end quotes, Jonker told the jury. Prosecutors said the plot was simmering for months, leavened by anti-government extremism and anger over Whitmer's COVID-19 restrictions. With undercover FBI agents and informants embedded in the group, the men trained with a crudely built shoot house to replicate her vacation home, prosecutors allege. There is no dispute that the alleged leaders, Fox and Croft, traveled to Elk Rapids, Michigan, to scout the governor's property and a nearby bridge that same weekend in September 2020. Ty Garbin and Caleb Franks, who pleaded guilty and testified against the four men, were on the same road trip along with covert investigators. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium TV Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. 7 months before he faces a critical test from voters in the midterm elections, President Joe Biden is turning his focus to kitchen table issues as he struggles to get credit for a recovering economy. Since Biden took office last year, job growth has been vigorous and steady, as he told the country Friday after the March jobs report showed the addition of 431,000 new jobs, and the unemployment rate falling to a low 3.6%. But those same remarks were also tempered by his recognition that food and gas prices are too high and inflation is at its worst level in a generation. For Biden, convincing Americans of the progress made in the economic recovery only serves as a salient reminder of how much farther the country has to go. In quotes, our economy has gone from being on the mend to being on the move. In quotes, Biden said, even as he acknowledged Americans are not ready for a victory lap. In quotes, I know that this job is not finished. We need to do more to get prices under control. End quotes. At times, Biden's bifurcating message, like the state of the economy itself, can seem like a jumble of contradictions. It leaves voters to piece together their own opinions, potentially to the president's political peril. Next news. Former President Barack Obama will be returning to the White House on Tuesday for his first public event there since he left office in 2017. A White House official said Sunday that Obama will be joining President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris to, in quotes, deliver remarks celebrating the success of the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid in extending affordable health insurance to millions of Americans, end quotes. The event is part of Biden's effort to turn his focus to pocketbook issues that directly affect American households. While job growth has been steady since he took office, inflation is at its worst level in a generation. The White House said Biden, in quotes, will take additional action to further strengthen the ACA and save families hundreds of dollars a month on their health care, end quotes. Health Secretary Javier Becerra and other members of Biden's cabinet will attend Tuesday's event. Next news. Over a year ago, 2 off-duty police officers from a small town in Virginia were charged with storming the U.S. Capitol together. A trial for one of them starts this week. The other could be a key prosecution witness. The trial of former Rocky Mount police officer Thomas Robertson will be the third among hundreds of people charged in the January 6th, 2021 attack on the Capitol. The first 2 trials both ended with convictions, although one of those defendants was acquitted of a disorderly conduct charge. Jury selection for Robertson's trial is scheduled to start Monday in Washington, D.C. One of his former colleagues, Jacob Fracker, was scheduled to join him on trial. Instead, Fracker reached a plea deal and agreed to cooperate with federal authorities. Fracker pleaded guilty last month to conspiring to obstruct an official proceeding. The joint session of Congress that convened January 6th to certify President Joe Biden's electoral victory. Next news. An Algerian man imprisoned at the Guantanamo Bay Detention Center for nearly 20 years has been released and sent back to his homeland. The Department of Defense announced Saturday that Soufiane Barhoumi was repatriated with assurances from the Algerian government that he would be treated humanely there, and that security measures would be imposed to reduce the risk that he could pose a threat in the future. The Pentagon did not provide details about those security measures, which could include restrictions on travel. Barhoumi was captured in Pakistan and taken to the U.S. base at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, in 2002. The United States eventually determined he was involved with various extremist groups, but was not a member of Al-Qaeda or the Taliban. According to a report by a review board at the prison that approved him for release in 2016. U.S. authorities attempted to prosecute Barhoumi in 2008, but the effort was dropped amid legal challenges to the initial version of the military commission system set up under then President George W. Bush. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello, and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. Bodies with bound hands, close range gunshot wounds, and signs of torture lay scattered in a city on the outskirts of Kiev after Russian soldiers withdrew from the area. Ukrainian authorities accused the departing forces on Sunday of committing war crimes and leaving behind a scene from a horror movie, end quotes. As images of the bodies emerged from Bucha, European leaders condemned the atrocities and called for tougher sanctions against Moscow. In a sign of how the horrific reports shook many leaders, Germany's defense minister even suggested that the European Union consider banning Russian gas imports. Ukrainian officials said the bodies of 410 civilians were found in the Kiev area towns that were recently retaken by Russian forces. Associated Press journalists saw the bodies of at least 21 people in various spots around Bucha, northwest of the capital. One group of 9, all in civilian clothes, were scattered around the site that residents said Russian troops used as a base. They appeared to have been killed at close range. At least 2 had their hands tied behind their backs. One was shot in the head, and another's legs were bound. Ukrainian officials laid the blame for the killing squarely at the feet of Russian troops, with the president calling them evidence of genocide. But Russia's defense ministry rejected the accusations as provocation. Next news. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam said Monday she wouldn't seek a second term after a rocky 5 years marked by huge protests calling for her resignation. A security crackdown that has quashed dissent, and most recently a COVID-19 wave that overwhelmed the health system. Her successor will be picked in May, and the city's security chief during the 2019 protests is among the possible choices. In quotes, I will complete my 5-year term as chief executive on the 30th of June this year, and I will also call an end to my 42 years of public service, end quotes, Lam said at a news conference. She thanks her team of local officials and the central authorities in Beijing and said she plans to spend more time with family, which is her sole consideration. Speculation had swirled for months about whether she would seek another term, but she said that her decision had been conveyed to the central government in Beijing last year and was met with respect and understanding. In quotes, less than 2 years into my chief executive term, because of the anti-extradition bill and because of interference from foreign forces and also the attack of COVID-19. I was under great pressure, end quotes, Lamb said, in quotes. However, the motivation for me to press on was the very staunch support behind me by the central authorities, end quotes. Next news. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić and his populist right-wing party appeared headed to victory in Sunday's national election, extending a decade-long authoritarian rule in the Balkan country, according to early pollsters' projections. The IPSOS and CESID pollsters, which have proven reliable in previous Serbian ballots, predicted Vučić would end up with nearly 60% of the votes, if confirmed in the official tally. Vučić would win outright a second 5-year term as president, and a runoff vote would not be needed. Vučić later declared victory in both the presidential and parliamentary vote, saying he was proud to win the second outright mandate without going into a runoff. In quotes, "A huge thank you to the citizens of Serbia," end quotes. He said, quoting similar results, in quotes, I'm endlessly proud and endlessly happy," end quotes. The pollsters projected that Vučić's Serbian Progressive Party would win the most votes in the parliamentary ballot, with around 43%, followed by the United for Victory of Serbia opposition group with around 13%. Serbia's state election authorities said they would not make any official announcements on the vote count before Monday. The unprecedented move by the commission was branded as scandalous by opposition officials who said it allowed Vučić to take over the state institution by giving him priority in announcing the official results. Next news. French nationalist leader Marine Le Pen has softened her rhetoric and her image to broaden her appeal in next week's presidential election, but is under threat from a provocative rival who has broken her monopoly as the watchdog of the country's identity, as they claim is under threat. For more than a decade, Le Pen has been known for her fierce anti-immigration stance, seeing herself as standing guard at the parapets of French civilization. Now she is honing in on consumers' buying power, the top concern for voters. I obviously consider that immigration and insecurity are serious problems which need urgent answers. But there's not just that, end quotes, said Le Pen, head of the National Rally Party, during a TV show featuring voters' questions, in quotes. I worry about making ends meet as much as the end of France. End quotes. Meanwhile, Eric Zemmour, 63, a political novice running under the banner of his newly created Reconquest party, is now portraying himself as the protector of old France, with bold proposals on immigration and Islam. He has proposed a remigration ministry equipped with airplanes to expedite the expulsions of what he says are undesirable migrants. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thanks.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. BMW has halted production at 2 German factories. Mercedes is slowing work at its assembly plants. Volkswagen, warning of production stoppages, is looking for alternative sources for parts. For more than a year, the global auto industry has struggled with a disastrous shortage of computer chips and other vital parts that has strong production, slow deliveries, and sent prices for new and used cars soaring beyond reach for millions of consumers. Now, a new factor. Russia's war against Ukraine has thrown up yet another obstacle. Critically important electrical wiring made in Ukraine is suddenly out of reach, with buyer demand high, materials scarce, and the war causing new disruptions. Vehicle prices are expected to head even higher well into next year. The war's damage to the auto industry has emerged first in Europe, but U.S. production will likely suffer eventually too, if Russian exports of metals, from palladium for catalytic converters to nickel for electric vehicle batteries, are cut off. In quotes. You only need to miss one part not to be able to make a car, end quotes, said Mark Wakefield, co-leader of consulting firm Alex Partners Global Automotive Unit. In quotes, any bump in the road becomes either a disruption of production or a vastly unplanned for cost increase, end quotes. Next news. Home district projects for members of Congress are back. Sprinkled across the government-wide $1.5 trillion bill President Joe Biden signed recently. The official tally shows amounts modest by past standards, yet spread widely around the country, and that understate what lawmakers are claiming credit for. The bipartisan measure financing federal agencies this year contains 4,975 such projects worth $9.7 billion. According to an Associated Press examination of items attributed to specific lawmakers in documents accompanying the bill. The listed projects, long called earmarks, ranged from $4,000 for evidence detection equipment for Huntington, the project's reemergence after an 11-year hiatus with transparency requirements and other curbs, marks a revival of expenditures that let lawmakers tout achievements to voters and help party leaders build support for legislation, while still vilified by some, especially conservatives, as emblems of influence peddling and wasteful spending. They've been embraced by lawmakers from both parties who cite Congress's constitutional power of the purse and say they know their local needs. Next news. German lawmakers who proposed a requirement for all adults to be vaccinated against COVID-19 sought a compromise on Monday after struggling to win a majority in Parliament, suggesting a less sweeping mandate that would initially oblige everyone aged 50 and above to get the vaccination. Olaf Scholz said shortly before becoming chancellor in December that he favored a vaccine mandate for all adults. But amid deep divisions on the issue within his governing coalition, he left it to lawmakers to come up with legislation rather than having the government draw up rules. Ahead of votes expected in Parliament Thursday, there appeared to be no clear majority for any of a variety of proposals, ranging from the proposed mandate for all adults to bills explicitly opposing any mandate at all. The 237 lawmakers who backed a mandate for all adults are now proposing a plan under which people aged 50 and above would be required to prove they have been vaccinated starting October 1st. News agency DPA reported. Other adults who aren't vaccinated would be required to show they have at least received counseling on the issue. Parliament could decide after its summer break, taking into account the progress of the pandemic and of vaccination, whether there should be a vaccination mandate for the people under 50. Next news. Sweden recommended a fourth COVID-19 vaccine dose to people 65 and over, as well as those living in nursing homes or getting home care, authorities said Monday. The new guideline drops the age from an earlier recommendation for a fourth shot to people 80 years and older. The recommendation also includes fourth shots for those between 18 to 64 years old with moderate to severe immune deficiency. Sweden's public health agency said in a statement, in quotes, "The goal is just as before to prevent serious illness and death from COVID-19, end quotes. Agency Chief Karen Tegmark-Wiesel said. Tegmark-Wiesel added that it's justified to provide a second booster shot to a wider age range because infections in Sweden and other countries continue to significantly multiply, and vaccine protection is starting to decline for older age groups. In quotes, for people aged 65 and over, it is now 4 months since the previous vaccine dose, and the vaccine's protective effect diminishes over time, end quotes, she said. For most of the pandemic, Sweden has stood out amongst European nations for its comparatively hands-off response. It never went into lockdown or closed businesses, largely relying instead on individual responsibility to control infections. We're going to take a short break from the daily global English news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us. Thank you.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. John Batiste had the most Grammy Award nominations, and his 5 wins outpaced everyone. Yet, he somehow seemed the biggest surprise on a joyous night for music that washed away some of the bad taste left by the Oscars a week earlier. Batiste's We Are won the prestigious Album of the Year award Sunday over music heavyweights like Tony Bennett, Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, and Ye, who changed his name from Kanye West. Batiste ended his dance-filled performance of Freedom during the show by jumping on Eilish's table. Silk Sonic won 4 Grammys, including Song and Record of the Year, for the duo's smooth soul hit, Leave the Door Open. Olivia Rodrigo's 3 awards included Best New Artist, Foo Fighters, Chris Stapleton, and CeCe Winans also won 3 awards each. Yet, Batiste captured the mood of a night where, despite some somber moments, the live performance skills of music's best artists were on full display after COVID-19 had put much of the concert industry on pause. Next news. Bright pink and all over metallics were the fashion stories of the Grammys' red carpet, led by Saweetie in fuchsia Valentino and Tiffany Haddish in sparkling one-shoulder Prada, as the music crowd did Las Vegas proud, with a show of wild, whimsical, and meaningful looks. Tiffany Haddish arrives at the 64th Annual Grammy Awards at the MGM Grand Garden Arena on Sunday, April 3rd, 2022, in Las Vegas. Saweetie's full skirt and bra top were paired with long matching gloves. Billy Porter, always a fashion standout, also went with fuchsia in a trouser look that had a sheer button-down shirt and long ruffled cape from Valentino. Justin Bieber, in clunky platform Crocs and a baggy Balenciaga gray suit, a few sizes too big, wore a fuchsia beanie on his head as he walked with his wife, Haley, in white Saint Laurent. Okay. Count Chrissy Teigen in the pink camp as well, in quotes. The color of the season I wear is fuchsia, end quotes. Porter told Entertainment Network his look was straight off the runway. Saweetie was a twofer on the carpet, changing into an Oscar de la Renta black gown with a silver piece covering one breast. Lady Gaga chose classic Hollywood in black and white velvet Armani Preve. She dripped in Tiffany and Company diamonds that included a short statement necklace as she hit the carpet just before the televised awards. Her hair was swept into an updo. An updo. Next news. Dawn Staley hoisted the championship trophy high, strutted around the court, and stopped for a brief victory dance. She handed over the hardware to South Carolina's student band, then headed back to midcourt for more merriment. The Gamecocks hit all the right notes this season, and they finished with a masterpiece. Staley's team buttoned up on defense and dominated on the glass, beating UConn 64-49 points on Sunday night to end the Huskies' undefeated streak in title games. Destani Henderson scored a career-high 26 points. Aaliyah Boston added 11 points and 16 rebounds, and the Gamecocks handed Gino Oremia's Huskies their first loss in 12 NCAA title games. In quotes. We played every possession like it was our last possession, end quotes, said Staley, the first black men's or women's coach with 2 Division I titles, end quotes. They were determined to be champions today, end quotes. A year ago, South Carolina lost in the Final Four when Boston missed a layup before the buzzer, in quotes. Honestly, I've been thinking about this since last season. Everyone had a picture of me crying, end quotes, said Boston, who was the most outstanding player of the Final Four, in quotes. Today, we're national champions, and I'm in tears, end quotes. Next news. Comeback, unlike any other for Tiger Woods, might start at the Masters. Just over 13 months since Woods damaged his right leg so badly, he said doctors considered amputation. Woods arrived at Augusta National on Sunday afternoon and warmed up on a range where there were more photographers than players. Woods hit balls for about 20 minutes and then got in a cart and headed to the course, which is closed Sunday afternoon to everyone except players and caddies. Already a star attraction, the hype over the 5-time Masters champion is higher than ever after a violent single car crash that looked as though it might end his career. Still to come is the decision on playing. In a tweet Sunday morning announcing he was coming to Augusta to resume preparations for the Masters, he said it will be game time decision whether he competes. The Masters does not have a firm deadline to commit like regular tour events. It is an invitation tournament, and players typically notify the club only if they do not plan to play. This has been the daily global news update of Millennium News TV 24/7. Thank you for watching. Please log in to get the latest news on all of our social networking sites. You ready for this? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. On TikTok, we are Millennium News 24. Yeah! Also, our YouTube channel is News Channel M24. Viewers, now on both network broadcasting, Android, and iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, also all smart platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment, our latest news, our reviews, current events, all of our shows, our Millennium TV apps, Millennium TV USA on Android, Millennium News Google us, www.millenniumnewsgoogle24.com. That's 2 L's, 2 N's. Stay with Millennium News 24/7, and we thank you. God bless.